I can go give, this is a demo of, I demoed this last week, but I had literally just made the first thing work, and I don't think I really demoed what it actually was. But now it's merged, so this is live and shipped. So this concept is, right, we have these filtered measures in YAML, these various like counting people in age groups. And if we go over here to the query, right, there's the different counts. But if I filter age to something that doesn't include the age groups, obviously they're all 0 because they're not the actual count. They're not in the bucket. But what this new feature is, this ability to go basically say like, no, I want these filters. I've got this cancel query filter thing, which I just realized in preparing this demo isn't auto-completing in YAML for some reason. So go track that down. But it's a second parameter that these filters can take. So I'm just saying basically like, I want this filter to apply to age. And I want to ignore the filter in the query that's on age. So if I save these, now I pop over here, see that basically they forced themselves through, and are now giving me the count of these people in these age buckets, regardless of this filter on age in the query. And you can just reinforce the point of again. Same deal, right? Some of these, at least one of these was filtered for California. I think 2 of them, right? So they go to 0 because they were filtered from California, and I'm now going to filter for New York, but I can do the same thing on down here. Again, not auto-completing, gotta go figure that out. But go to cancel load, pop over here, and then it's back. So it allows some interesting kind of analyses. And now I think last week, because my demo was so unclear, a couple people thought that what I really had done was this or something like, right, and I think people would like that. So we will do that. It is pretty easy to just take the same underlying stuff and implement this. So that's that demo.
Do you, Stephen, do you have any, I guess, are there any, like, I guess, examples customers about, like, where should we advise someone to use this? Or like, are there kind of like common use cases that folks?
So honestly, no one has asked exactly for this. What it is the bedrock, and I just need to add like one more little other thing of doing period over period filtered measures, because that's like essentially what a period over period filter measure is, right? It says like, you have this filter on current year in your query. I want to put a filter measure on previous year and ignore the filter on current year in your query. So this is the underlying technology, and we've exposed it, but don't quite have the right like offsetting syntax to do period over period filters. But like, the idea is that this would be used at minimum under the hood for a reality that will hopefully exist in a week or two, where you can have a period over period pivot, click a magical button in the UI, and it explodes your pivot. And now you have period over period filtered measures. And they will use this. And so other things, this is kind of like the individual filter cancel. I don't know. Maybe it's useful, maybe it's not. I know for sure the cancel all thing has been literally asked for like since that last demo, based on the thought that that was what the demo was. And you can also, with similar patterns in the code, start canceling grouping instead, which is this whole thing that like Tableau does that Looker never did. But so there's some stuff we could start pulling on there to make some interesting new kinds of measures.
Do you think we need any indication in the table that those columns are ignoring a filter at all?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think we'll have to just see about feedback, like what people are using these for, like in the real world. Like, are you giving these names that are making that clear? Like, are you putting like overall in the name or something? I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm interested in, yeah.
I'd hate to add more to the table here, but the one thing we had talked about is like there's a lot of interesting information about a column that maybe like if we did a better kind of like I don't know, you're talking about like hover cards and columns or something like that, or a way to like, reveal descriptions, but maybe other information like this that like, hey, this guy also ignores this other filter there because it's this special kind of filtered measure, something like that. There might be some ways at least to get that information, even if it's not like immediately visible in the UI, be able to see that. I don't know.
Can you show really quickly what it looks like in the sequel? Just kind of curious how this.
Yes, oh, I'm still sharing. Great. So, oh yeah, this one has. Does it need this many left joins? That's a good question. But basically, the various, like, it essentially does all. The thing is, right, it's all in SQL. There's no magic. It does for you, like the way you would have to do something like this in Looker is by like making derived tables
Mhm.
for your various things that you want to ignore your query filters on, and like binding the filters you want to bind and not binding the others, and then joining those derived tables back in. And this essentially is doing that automatically. So this one
Really cool.
did, these joins in here, and where they're joining back in on the grouping, and the joins are selectively ignoring various filters.
So could you do this? I need to think through this myself, but like, would you do this instead of making like user facts tables? You could basically have like the lifetime value or whatever of a customer.
It depends on these cases. I'm sure there are use cases where you could avoid making fact tables
Interesting.
in this. Certainly, like if you want all time, like if you want to measure like all time, it's like the canonical thing, like all time orders. The only awkwardness, now I'm thinking about it, there may not be a way to express any value filter in YAML, which means you might not be able to do like is any value cancel filter, but you can certainly do like is not null cancel filter as a hack for now. But yeah, so that could be like a way to make an all-time measure, like basically just ignore the time filter on this measure.
Very cool.
Should we add like in the edit field panel on the workbook? Should we add a like some way to add this control?
I think if people are finding, as long as people find it useful, I didn't, because it was more of like introduced as this like
Period. Step for the period. Yeah.
yeah. So like, but yeah, we can go add that if people are using it in YAML and are like, can I just make this in the UI? Certainly then like editing one of these in the UI would probably like drop the cancel, which is not great. So may need to do it for that reason alone. Cool.